Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 11:10. Spirit Channeling. For a moment, the cold night became abnormally scorching hot, as though invisible lava was surging within it. However, everything quickly returned to normal. The Red Angel evil spirit sized up Klein and smiled as if nothing had happened. I'll say it again. You have talent in being a provoker. Back when Zeradol digested the Bizarro Sorcerer Potion, even he didn't dare to pretend to be a man in front of me. There wasn't a hint of anger in his tone. He didn't mention why Zeradol didn't dare to do so, but with his gaze sweeping across Klein, it was as if he had fallen deep inside a glacier, his body freezing in the process. This was how his actual body felt. Even though he was separated by a marionette, the back of his neck and back still had goosebumps. Without needing Sauron Einhorn Medici to say anything else, Klein understood the hidden meaning behind his words. Anyone who dared to use such a method to scare him would suffer the punishment of steel and blood on the spot. Looking at the Red Angel evil spirit in front of him who had a converged aura but was giving off a feeling of an extremely high level of superiority, Klein couldn't help but inwardly mutter, if it wasn't for the fact that the Bizarro Sorcerer Potion had been digested to a certain extent, I would have thought that your willpower was as strong as steel and that your strength has returned to the level of at least a Sequence 1. And now, I can basically confirm that, under your calm demeanor, you're hiding a strong fear towards Amon. This also means that your current level is at most at Sequence 2. Besides, I was already mentally prepared to lose a marionette. In order to quickly digest the potion, I had to take the risk. If Danitz was here and he was given the opportunity to shout out, "Coward," twice, he could probably quickly digest the Provoker Potion even if he had drunk 4 or 5 bottles. Without further agitating the Red Angel evil spirit, Klein smiled and took off the monocle. Back in the Solomon Empire, Zeradol should already be an angel. How would he still need to digest the Bizarro Sorcerer Potion? I'm talking about the young Zeradol, Sauron Einhorn Medici said casually. This is consistent with the description from the grandpa and Leonard's body. Klein nodded indiscernibly and focused on the main topic at hand. You've already finished off the Demoness of White? What do you think? The Red Angel evil spirit laughed and said, Also, one must be polite. Since Katerina calls herself the Saintess of White, then you shouldn't call her a Demoness anymore. Polite. A hunter emphasizing manners with me. At that instant, the corners of Klein's mouth twitched, expressing the ludicrousness of the matter, but he ultimately held back. From the looks of it, provoking isn't limited to ridiculing and cursing others. Danitz, who only knows how to curse using one word, is a disgrace to hunters. As he thought, Klein said, I've already fulfilled my promise. I think you don't mind giving me a small reward. Reward? The Red Angel evil spirit scoffed and asked. Klein ignored his attitude and continued, I wish to communicate with the Demoness of White. I want to ask her something. Just this request? The Red Angel evil spirit asked in amusement. Klein nodded. That's right. No problem. Sauron Einhorn Medici raised his right hand and grabbed at his glabella. From there, a blurry figure was pulled out. It was none other than Saintess of White Katerina, whose facial expression was filled with horror. Can we have a private conversation? Seeing this, Klein looked around. The Red Angel evil spirit immediately laughed and said, Do you need a room where the two of you can be together? Think about it with that brain of yours. Even if you want to hide the questions you would like to raise from me, I can still find out through Katerina's spirit. That is, of course, unless you don't plan on returning her to me? Or are you a little boy who needs a sense of ritual? Klein made the marionette reply with a deadpan expression. I have a way to make her forget my questions. This was both the truth and a lie. The truth was that he could use Vin Rambiza's manipulators beyond her characteristic to complete the job. However, it was relatively difficult, and the chance of failure was very high. Furthermore, the negative effects weren't minor. The reason why he lied was because he had no intention of doing so. This would expose many important matters. He only had one purpose in saying this, to make the Red Angel evil spirits suspect that the answers obtained weren't the truth and that there were key hidden parts beneath the surface. From that, he would ignore the value of the answers obtained on the surface. This worked wonders on people who were highly suspicious. Of course, Klein didn't have the extravagant hopes of guaranteed success. After all, the entity opposite him was the Red Angel, who was master of conspiracies. Not bad. After Sauron Einhorn Medici heard Klein's reply, his body suddenly vanished, projecting itself onto the glass window. Klein glanced at the blood that had already coagulated on the gray stones, feeling somewhat wistful as he brought the somewhat muddle-headed demoness of White Katarina far away from the glass and into a dark alley. He then took out candles, essential oils, and herbal powders. He set up an altar and prayed to the Evernight goddess, hoping that he could use ritualistic magic to complete the mediumship. This was a skill he had mastered when he was still a Nighthawk. As the ritual was completed, an immense and terrifying power descended from an indescribable height, causing the surroundings to become unusually quiet. Klein's eyes instantly darkened, as it was like the dark night was compressed. He then saw more things around Katarina's spirit, flickering light and blurry mind storms. He easily passed through those obstacles and faced the demoness of White's body of heart and mind. Has the cooperation between the demoness sect and George III come to an end? Without being careless, Klein began from a less sensitive question to observe Katarina's condition. The dazed and confused look on Katarina's face faded a little as she nodded with a pure smile. Yes. Then why are you still in Backlund? Klein asked further. Katarina replied solemnly. I'm in pursuit of Trissy. She took an important sealed artifact from us. What's the sealed artifact? Klein suddenly recalled the sapphire ring that Demoness Trissy had once worn on her hand. It was intricately made. Demoness of White Katarina said with a pious expression. It has something to do with the awakening of Primordial. Apart from its high level at grade 0, it doesn't have any special abilities. Indeed, it has to do with the Primordial Demoness. You people even changed Trissy's name to Trissy Cheek. Klein didn't reveal that he knew the true name of the Primordial Demoness. Instead, he asked, Do you know where the other 8 mausoleums of George III are? Katarina frowned slightly and answered in a manner meant to garner sympathy. They're separately located in the southwest suburbs of Backlund, Alwa County, Eastchester County. This demoness of White first gave a simple account of the locations of the 8 mausoleums before introducing their specific locations and situations in detail. The 8 mausoleums have already been repaired. They temporarily deactivated the teleportation tunnel. Even if they have the corresponding charms, there's no way to open them again. It's almost impossible to find them directly from the outside world. Other than Prince Grove, Duchess Georgina, the 2 angels of the royal family, and George III, no one else can enter. Well, some of those places were places where Kona's Kilgore often went hunting, so it matches my guess. This means that the Demoness of White isn't lying. I'll make a confirmation above the gray fog later. If this is really the case, it would be quite troublesome. With the current situation, be it Prince Grove or Duchess Georgina, they would definitely be in the sights of the angels. The biggest hurdle is entering the ruins. Once entry is gained, what follows won't be that dangerous. War has already broken out, and there's a need to fight against the Phasacians. Demigods are a limited resource, so there's no way George III can have every ruin be guarded by a saint, with the option of an angel to provide reinforcements. As Klein's thoughts raced, he first posed a question. The royal family has 2 angels? In fact, that's not the case. It's very likely that George III is also one. Katarina replied honestly. One of those 2 angels is the founder of the Lone Kingdom, Protector William I, who has survived since the 4th epoch. He is a Sequence 1 Hand of Order of the Arbiter Pathway, while the other is the former Duke of Southville, Dlink Augustus. He is a Sequence 2 Balancer. As for how many Grade 0 sealed artifacts the royal family has, I'm not sure. The founder on the 10-pound note is still alive. I have the feeling that history has seeped into reality again. After some thought, he nodded and asked, "Why are you working with George III? For a conqueror beyond her characteristic. It's already in our hands." Katerina's expression became a little excited. Conqueror was the name of the Red Priest Pathways Sequence 1 potion. "Then, will it belong to the primordial demonis, or belong to the upper echelons of your sect?" Klein asked thoughtfully. "Who are the higher-ups of your sect?" "It will be sacrificed to primordial. However, we have to find the sealed artifact that Trissy took away first. Currently, it has been kept by the Saintess of Black. All the higher-ups of our sect have colors as their code names," Katerina answered truthfully. After understanding more details, Klein terminated the spirit channeling, cleaned up the altar, and allowed the demoness of White's spirit to return to the glass window from before. As for himself, his body suddenly turned transparent. With the help of teleportation, he disappeared from this region, rendezvousing with his actual body and his other marionette. After watching Gehrman Sparrow leave, the gloominess and confusion on Katerina's face suddenly vanished as her expression became extremely astute. She then entered the glass window, which had turned dark again. A few seconds later, Sauron Einhorn Medici and Demoness of White Katerina walked out of the mirror, together. The latter's figure was clear and filled with flesh. She showed no signs of death. "Are you saying that he was asking about the other 8 secret mausoleums of George III? The power of the spirit channeling came from Evernight?" The Red Angel evil spirit stroked his chin and turned to ask Katerina. The Demoness of White nodded slightly and said, "That's right." "Heh." The Red Angel evil spirit immediately laughed. "So he doesn't want George III to become the Black Emperor?" Katerina's eyes darted around as she revealed a smile. "But it's impossible to succeed. No matter how fast he advances or how much help he receives, there's no way he can resist the combined forces of the royal family, the military, and that organization. No, if it's just the Augustus family, with his level and strength, he won't be able to do anything, unless Evernight personally descends." Having said that, this Demoness of White asked in a seemingly casual manner, "I'm very puzzled. Why didn't you kill me directly after grasping the absolute advantage over me?" The Red Angel evil spirit glanced at her as the corners of his mouth slowly curled up. "Do you think you have the right to be my true target?"